and think of nature themes, and maybe this is a contest in the schools or something like that to find images of nature that would make a great crosswalk. And this was another idea of just identifying it as you're driving into town and you're crossing over a crosswalk that says Reedsburg. It's welcoming you into the community and connecting your visitors into you. So those are some ideas that we think that you could go ahead and get started with. And the other thing is that we think that you could actually work with your historical society right now and actually work and to get an app that could give you and your community and visitors a tour of your historic buildings in town, as well as the local artwork and the temporary artwork that ends up popping up around town. We think that would be really great to try to work on and do right now. And that's it for me.
This illustration just is about a common situation we often find ourselves in. And we mentioned it earlier, that you have a lot of groups doing a lot of stuff. Okay? So, and you may all be traveling in different directions. Somebody sometimes can come along and say, this is where we're going to go, people. And it's, the big idea or the mover and shaker or the loudest voice in the room or town. And they try and drag everybody who's going in different directions along with their vision. Then we say, okay, we've come up with some sort of vision, some group has or whatever. Now we want everybody to buy in. So you got all these people who have different missions, different purpose or whatever, and they're being kind of drug along, and they may be going with you, but they're a drag going in that direction. Because when I hear the phrase buy-in, it's hard for me not to spit. Because I'm a shared vision kind of person. It's more work. It takes time. And we talked earlier about different groups getting together, like your different business associations, retailers across downtown, the different volunteer service organizations getting together, once or twice a year and just talking about, what we do. And over time, because you love Reedsburg, and you want this town to be successful over time, and you're going to have to change some very fundamental things, like being more welcoming to different kinds of people, so when all us white folks are dying, there's people here. And you have employees for your companies. You have these goals that are very precious to you. You want this town to continue. You want the Baraboo River to be a wonderful place that many people in town can take advantage of, and people come here and spend their money to take advantage of, and people want to move here and raise their children and work in your industries and take advantage of this 1 gigabyte stuff. So you've got wonderful goals. And as you talk about how each of you are going to, in your different groups, work towards those goals, you can align. And then you're all pushing that vision forward together. And you get the sense of the accelerating energy and speed. Okay, that's your challenge.
Which one? That's forward. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Steve, and I'm going to talk a little bit about leading Reedsburg's change. And we're going to talk a little bit about implementation and perhaps some next steps. And I'm going to start us with, what do the experts say? And I've kind of paraphrased some work from Professor John Cotter from Harvard University, who's probably a worldwide expert on how do organizations and how do communities change. And he's got a few steps that I think all of us should think about when we're involved in a change process and trying to make this change happen, the many ideas that you heard tonight. The first step is establishing urgency. Well, I would observe from the Reedsburg situation, you've brought us here. You've observed that there's a need to do something in your community, and I don't know if we'd call it urgency, but there's really a strong interest, and so many people have expressed that, and coming out last night and tonight, there's something happening here. The second step, forming coalitions. And you heard in some of the other presentations the importance of the many, many different groups that are already involved in Reedsburg. Particular to the planning and design process, you've formed a coordinating committee for community design. That's one type of coordinating coalition. Creating a vision, that's another really important step. Collective vision, shared vision for a community to move forward. And collectively with you over the last 6 months, maybe culminating the start tonight, we created a vision for Reedsburg today. The fourth step that Cotter talks about in leading community change is communicating the vision. And there's a lot that you've heard about tonight. There's a lot to think about and to challenge and to accept and refine in your own ways. But the communication of a potential vision, we started that tonight. And through the many coalitions in your community that we want and hope that you will now start working together, there's a lot of work in communicating some of the importance of the ideas that the different coalitions agree to. So we look at, some of these key steps in leading change. Congratulations. The first 4 steps in leading change, we've got some good traction, and we're real excited about that. But certainly, maybe we've just begun in many ways. So what's another key step in leading change? Empowering action. And I think with Miles' last slide, there could be some pitfalls too in the way change happens, but we've learned that empowering action involves folks with different characteristics. Who has the passion? Who's really excited about being involved in the change in Reedsburg? Who has the commitment? You all showed up tonight. This is an example of the types of folks involved in change, those that are going to commit some role in change. And who has the ability and the skills? Obviously, there's a lot of capability in this community, and we really did learn about that. And we want to match that up with some of the potential ideas that you heard about tonight. So we do have a sign-up sheet outside. When you walk down and look at our plans, the very last board that we're going to have is a sign-up sheet. And this is maybe a small way of starting the empowerment of action. And then just a couple other pointers on what the experts say. Important in planning and creating some short-term wins. That's why we worked hard to have both short-term, long-term, maybe some things that you can work on right away that you're excited about. It's really important to use your existing community groups that may already be lined up with some of these initiatives. If an existing group can't do what needs to be done, maybe this is the time that we need to create some new work groups. One of our team members, as we introduced the other night, Mariah, and introduced herself tonight, Mariah has been a leader in Door County and Bailey's Harbor. As a result of a similar process that we're doing with you that we did in Bailey's Harbor, they formed 6 or 7 work groups. People just were drawn to start working on some of these initiatives. So really tonight, some of our suggestions are our way of getting you started. And the importance of connections and the easier connections, even some of the quick connections to get you going on these projects. And then the last step that we've put here from the experts is that even when we start working on these, you're going to be producing a lot of new ideas, and there's going to be continuous change in this community that you need to think about. But we really think that there's an opportunity here to make Reedsburg a leader in community placemaking.
Thank you, Steve. Time check, we're what, half done? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hope you all brought like a, a power bar or something. Nobody eats those anymore anyway. No, this is the last slide. And my job here is to kind of bring this together. And you know, Steve gave us a really great rundown of what the experts say, what, you know, people who spend a lot of time talking about this in meetings would say. But I want to talk to you briefly about what it means for you as community members in Reedsburg. Because today was a beginning, but it's not even close to, you know, we got a lot of work to do. So remember always that you brought us here. You brought us here. The work your community did to prepare, and you prepared beautifully, to bring the team here and get our input. So thank you very much first. Thank you. Together, we have laid the foundation for community change, but it's only a foundation, okay? So it's up to you, starting tomorrow, I'm going to let you take tonight off, to build the Reedsburg that you want on the foundation that's been laid here this weekend, okay? That's your charge. And remember, small steps are always great, just keep walking, right? This is not the kind of thing that gets done fast. But as long as people continue to take steps in the right direction, Reedsburg's always going to get better, and your community's always going to be a place that's a little bit better for you and your children and your grandchildren and your grandparents. So keep that in mind. Now, we will be around to help. Right here, we have Jen Erickson, who's one of the very best in the business. She's your Sauk County UW Extension Community Development Educator. She's a resource for you, so please lean on her. Also, Todd Johnson. Todd is a community development specialist. He will be coming back to check up on you in about 6 months, okay? So be ready. But in the meantime, if you need anything, give him a call too. He's here for you as well. And Jenny and Todd, well, and the entire Community Vitality and Placemaking team, let's be honest, is here for you. And we can all, but especially Jenny and Todd, can connect you to lots more resources from the UW system. We have specialists and centers that do urban and regional planning work, that do landscape architecture, community economic development, and more. So if you have a question, if you think we can help, it doesn't ever hurt to call. And if we can't figure out how to help you, we can find somebody most of the time who can. So I'm going to turn it back over to Todd. I thank you again, and congratulations. Have a great night.
So we get to the lights back on. I'm going to fall asleep here. So congratulations, you survived our presentation tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right. So you saw a lot of pretty pictures and heard a lot of talking. And so what does it all mean? That's up to you. What we've shown here are reflections of what you told us, the type of future that you wanted to have, mixed in with some of our professional sort of assistance on how we might think that might be best served, and some ideas on how you might get there. Now, what we drew for you are not buildable documents. These aren't engineering drawings. These are only notions. These are, again, first steps. But they're steps that I think that reflect what you told us your values were and the kind of future that you hope to have. I at least hope that's what you saw on the screen, because that's what we intended to do. These are meant to be your ideas, not our ideas. Our team members worked very hard on this to try to be honest and make sure that this is truly a Reedsburg design team. Our folks are going to be standing out in the hallway, and they're going to be standing next to the drawings and boards that they worked on. They're going to be there to answer your questions. They're going to be there to correct the drawings. So if there are things on there that you just say, that doesn't make a lot of sense, can you explain that to me? And if you can prove them wrong, please do, because they're going to take notes, and we're going to try and make some corrections on this, because I'm taking all the information that you've seen tonight. There might be some edits, and then I'll put together a written document that compiles all this information that you can have, and then you can, like, put it on your bookcase, you'll never look at it again. But the main thing is that what you've seen is just the start, like Will said, but we've given you some ideas of things that you can do very simply as well, things that don't require a lot of extra resources or extra dollars, that you can do and start seeing some progress right away. I really love this work. I think it's a lot of fun because I love watching what you guys do with this. I come back in 6 months, not just to check up on you, but I want to see what amazing things you came up with, because I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised. When we went to Grantsburg, we piloted this program in 2014. 6 months later, they already knocked out half a dozen things. We were in Bailey's Harbor. Only a few weeks later, they'd already transformed their existing space that was adjacent to their library into basically a full functioning community center. You know, these are just a lot of times it's very simple things, just getting the right people to intersect at the right time with a shared vision. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope you understand that and that this isn't meant to be rocket science. It's meant to be what Reedsburg wants. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope so. Okay, good. Whew. All right, so with that, I'm really tired of listening to myself talk. I know our team is exhausted, but they're also thrilled to death. I'd like our team, to please excuse themselves and go out into the hallway and stand next to your drawings. And we have some cameras that are going to be doing some interviews of folks, so please don't run away from our team members when they have a camera, because what they really are trying to do is collect your opinions, good or bad or ugly, about what you thought of this process and what you see tonight, because we have to explain to our bosses what we did tonight. So please, if you have one of our extension agents with a camera come up to you to ask a few questions, please be nice to them and give them just a few minutes of your time. If you have any other questions, please direct them to the folks out in the hallway first. If you have specific things for me, I'm more than welcome to do my best. But thank you again for your hospitality.
Don't forget to sign up.
Oh, yes. And I'm sorry. Do not forget to sign up. That's a personal challenge out there to you guys tonight. We have sign-up sheets out there to just write down your name and some contact information. If what you see you like and you want to be a part of it, please put your name on the dotted line. We're not expecting you to sign your life away. We just want to know if you're interested in being a part of this movement forward. So with that, I think I'd like to excuse you all and thank you so much for your hospitality.
Todd, just one thing. We videoed last night and tonight. Somebody in the room, who was it that mentioned to me right here? The last night was out on Channel 11 today. And I'm still waiting for some pictures from Bill Chudy. And we will put this one on. But it'll be on, both of them will be on Channel 12 sometime on Monday with the pictures and everything. So, and also the Design Reedsburg team is going to receive several copies of it, courtesy of the Reedsburg Utility.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So again, thank you again to the community of Reedsburg. You know who you are. The folks who brought us here, to Jenny Erickson and crew. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you to our moms and dads over the weekends to help letting us stay at your place. So again, have a wonderful evening. Please go ask them questions. Thank you.
Township. There's lots of reservation